Premiere Pro is our go-to editing software. It is amazing what you can do with this software, and as you get better, you learn a ton of shortcuts, hotkeys, and tricks and tips that you can use to make your workflow better, your editing look better, and the overall experience much more enjoyable when you're editing content. In this video, I'm going to share 5 tips that you can use to be a better editor. Check it out.
3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, Blaze here with News Media. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Hope you guys are staying safe during the Corona crises. I am here once again filming from my home studio. We moved out of our office a number of weeks ago now, and I missed that place. I missed the brick backdrop, but using this blue studio backdrop, so hope you guys like it, and still able to get you some of the information that'll hopefully help you and your filmmaking skills. In this video, I wanted to share some key tips that I love to use when I edit in Premiere. There is a ton more things out there, so I just wanted to cover 5 that I think are absolutely essential and have made my life a lot easier. If you guys do have hotkeys, tools, tricks, tips that you use when you edit in Premiere, please put them below in the comment section. Would love to hear what you guys have, and that can also help some of the other editors out there on the tricks and tips that they use. So tip number 1 is hotkeys. I know when I started out, I just found it annoying to think about setting up hotkeys. I knew how to edit, I knew where stuff was, and I just thought that hotkeys wouldn't make my life that much easier, and it was just annoying to figure out and set them in Premiere. But trust me, take the time, set some hotkeys, and it's amazing how much faster your workflow will become. Anything you're basically using frequently, there should be a hotkey for, and the more you start using that hotkey, you're just going to be amazed by how much faster your workflow is. Some of the big ones that I use are the B for the blade tool. I'm sure most people know that one. Just easy to cut your footage up and toggle between the blade. And then there's the V, which just brings you back to the cursor. So I'll toggle between V and B all day long. I can't imagine having to select those with my mouse. It's way more efficient having a hotkey for them. All the different tools do have hotkeys, so you can learn them all, and depending on which ones you guys use the most, really easy, really nice and convenient to use those hotkeys to select them. One of the other huge ones for me was a hotkey for ripple delete. Now, this is something, it's probably the most recent hotkey I created maybe a few months ago, and I love every time I use it because it just saves me so much frustration. Basically with ripple delete, I think I have it set to my R key, and what that's going to do is anytime there's a space or a gap between my footage, it's just going to compress it all so it's nicely fitted in the timeline. If I delete something and then just hit that R button, it saves me from selecting and highlighting things, and I just love it. So ripple delete is a big one for me, and something I encourage you guys to also give a try. Another great tool that I love to use is when I want to copy a clip. A lot of people know the Control-C and then Control-V, or Command-C and V if you're on a Mac. But then what that does, if you're pasting it, is it's just going to paste it on top of whatever's in your timeline. So what I actually like to do is hold Alt, click on the clip, and drag it to where I want it to be. And that way it's just going to duplicate it, and I can place it above or among other clips without worrying about having to delete them. I also like using this if I want to just copy a clip above another clip to then start editing it, playing with colors, trying different transitions, tweaking it, and then if I don't like those, I can just delete that, get rid of it, and I have my old clip where it is. So tip number 2 is graphics. Now, if you're an old school Premiere user, you're probably very familiar with legacy titles, where you go into the file or get the create a title, but that's all changed. Premiere released an update quite some time ago where it has its dedicated graphics panel, and I absolutely love it. A lot of people kind of hesitate, they don't like change, they don't know what it is, they don't want to learn it, but once you dive into it, I guarantee you that you're going to find it very, very useful. There's a ton of great stuff in there. You can build your own titles from scratch, add shapes, backgrounds really easily, animate things. There are also templates that you can use within Premiere that create custom name bars or different presets. And one of the things that I love to do is actually create my own presets. So once I create a title or a name bar that I really like, or have a certain company that always uses the same color scheme, the same titles, then I will jump in to Premiere, create that title, and then create the preset so I can simply just add it into future projects whenever I'm doing that. So great feature in that graphics panel, and one that I definitely encourage you guys to use. Tip number 3 is captions. Now, captions are something that I always found so daunting and try to avoid at all costs, but when done the right way in Premiere, it is actually Super easy, really seamless, and something that I was so relieved to find out how to do when I discovered it in Premiere. So here is how you put captions on the right way. In Premiere, select File, New, Captions, and select Open Captions. You can drag this onto your sequence and customize your font, the size, colors, and basically fill out the lines as you go. A hack that I like to use because I'm a horrible speller is actually type out my script in Word or Google Docs, somewhere that has spell check, and then just copy and paste it back into my Premiere file once I've typed it all out, so I can make sure that there isn't spelling errors. Nothing worse than sending a video to a client and have some embarrassing spelling errors, so just avoids that step by doing it that way the first time. Another tip that I like to use to make my captions stand out is search for the drop shadow effect, drag it onto your captions, and then you can change the opacity, the direction, and basically make your captions stand out so they're much more visible, especially if they're on the same color background as you want your caption color to be. This change will then be applied to all the captions throughout this caption sequence, and really easy to just leave on there and make your captions nice and visible for everyone to see. Tip number 4 is Lumetri color. Now, I really love using the Lumetri color. Some people change their colors in Resolve or other editing color software, but Lumetri color is super simple to use and actually gives you a lot of control. Starting with the really basic stuff in the Lumetri panel is you can adjust your exposure, you can adjust your color balance, contrast, and just saturation, vibrance, all kinds of things, but just making those tweaks right there are going to make your footage look a lot better. But you can also dive deeper into the curves, where you can change the curve, and that'll also adjust the contrast, the shadows, and the highlights. The color wheels are great. I definitely use this when I want to match different cameras together. There's also a good comparison view mode, which is really awesome because if you want to match different sequences or make sure your wide shots line up with your tight shots, you can put on this comparison view, and it really gives you a good reference as to a frame that you want to match or what you want your existing footage to look like. There's also the HSL secondary. This is great if you want to change specific colors, so you can actually select colors and adjust things based on specific colors. And then there's also vignetting within this Lumetri scopes. So if you play around, the more you play around with the Lumetris, the better you're going to be at grading your footage. Definitely, I found myself swaying from different phases in my video production career, where at one point I wanted everything to look super saturated, and then I wanted everything to look super dark and cinematic. So all the functionality is here, and depending on what look and feel you want to get, you can add that in the Lumetri panel. There also are LUTs. If you want to add pre-existing LUTs, you can add them to your footage easily here. A lot of people sell their LUTs, and you can just download them and add them in this place right here. So great tool to use, and really happy that Premiere integrated their color scheme in this way. Tip number 5 is really all about your workflow. And one of the things that I found make my workflow so much more seamless was how I organized all my footage. What we always make sure of is that our folder structure, where our files are kept, is the exact same on our drive or on our computer as in Premiere. So that way, if we're missing links, we know where to find them, and basically we have a structure that we always use that's the same, so if we need to access things, we know exactly where it is at all times. For our Premiere projects or our folder structure, we always label it with the same essential root folders, one being footage, the other being Premiere, so we can have multiple iterations of Premiere as we update and change them. We'll have our assets, which is things like graphics or music, or we'll put music in a separate folder altogether, and then we know where everything is. And if we're transferring things, using it on editing on different computers, having multiple drives for backups, we always know where everything is, what's missing, and if a link is missing in Premiere, it's really easy to find or see if it's there. One bonus tip I wanted to add before I close off this video is that in Premiere, you can actually save your layouts. So if you have a specific layout that you like to use, if Premiere crashes on you or some reason it gets reset, you can simply just get it back in by going to Window, Workspace, and then reset to the saved layout, and it'll bring you right back to where you were, and that's really useful if something crashes on you, or if for some reason it gets resets, or if you're jumping onto a new computer. And that is it. 5 tips that hopefully will help your workflow. I really encourage you guys to try these. I guarantee you that if you don't use them already, they're gonna make your workflow a lot more seamless. If you have any specific tips that you guys love to use, please put them in the comment section below. Would love to hear them, and I'm sure other people watching this video would love to see what everyone else is doing out there. Hope you guys are staying safe during this coronavirus. I still can't believe that we moved out of our office, working now from home, and it's really changed the entire landscape of filmmaking. So if you guys do have a story, or if you're struggling, feel free to reach out. I'm really open to helping, collaborating with other people, and just seeing how we can evolve together during this crazy time. One thing that I do believe throughout this pandemic and all the hardships is that there's going to be lots of opportunity when we do come out of this. So looking forward to seeing that side of the coin once we do start emerging. Thanks again for watching this video, guys. If you did like this video, please make sure to smash that like button, consider subscribing, and stay tuned for the next video. Peace.